have a guest that's been a co-host that's been here with us before, but he's here with us again, Taylor Bryant.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and mention real early, Taylor Bryant is very close to having all, I'm not talking about some, but all of the ASE tests, which if he passes those, which he expects to do by the end of the year, there'll only be 16 people in the world that has that.
That's
unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's pretty huge.
It's called the President's Club for ASE, and it's 48 different certifications, and I'm about probably 4/5 of the way there. So yeah,
fantastic.
A lot of testing.
Pull it for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we have a fantastic show planned. Now this is amazing. We are sitting right now at the starting line of Carolina Dragway, the House of Hook.
This is definitely we've been on remote, I feel like, for a couple of months now.
We have.
Everywhere. This is by far like the coolest place to be right now.
I don't think I've mentioned what I did. Part of what's making it take so long, I looked everywhere for a table that I wanted, a special type table. The only place I could find one was China. So the gentleman built it in China, and it right now is on a boat back here. So I hope that within a few weeks that we'll have our table and everything else will set up. You know, the only thing I could think of that would be any better than sitting here at the starting line of Carolina Dragway with the beautiful weather and just the right temperature and watching them get the track ready for racing, which will start in about an hour. They'll start making some runs in about an hour, is if we had two people that were drag racers that we could talk to. Let me think. Wait, we have them. Yeah, we got Randy Crockett here, and this is what the amazing part is. Randy Crockett has a 2012 Mullis dragster. He also flies helicopters, but that's a different show. We'll have to do a whole different show on that one. But 1,200 horsepower. 1,200 horsepower. Now, here's the kicker. His grandson is here, Justice Brown.
Yes, sir.
And Justice has an awesome-looking 27 Ford Roadster. I mean, it looks good.
Thank you.
So we get the opportunity to talk with them and kind of find out how they started. And as a matter of fact, I think it'd be great to start out with Randy. Randy, how did you get started doing this?
My dad had friends that were drag racers, and so I grew up around drag racing, so it was easy for me to just move into. My first drag race car was a 66 Ford Fairlane, and I progressed up to a little bit faster and a little bit faster up until I've got the car that I got now.
You progressed a lot, didn't you? A dragster.
Hey, it's really, really fun to drive. They're really, really fast. My dragster runs 450s at about 152 in the eighth mile. I've been 207 in it in a quarter mile. My grandson over there, 18, he's biting at the bit to get into it, but I got a leash on him. He's going to have to wait a little while.
Well, he was the next one I was going to ask. Justice, how did you get started in this?
Well, it was all due to him. When I was about 4, that car was built, that dragster, and they started taking me to the track, and I slowly fell in love with it. And over time, I kept begging him for a junior, and I think it was in 2017, 2018, he finally got me one, and we started, and it was all fun from there.
Now, I heard something about a article that you were in,
yes,
NHRA.
Back in 23, we were running Division 7, which is mainly West Coast states. There's 7 states across that division, and primarily most of the races were in California. And in March of 23, a rider from National Dragster had messaged us about it, and they gave us a list of questions and whatnot. We answered them, and a couple months later, we had a whole article on me.
Wow, that's
take
amazing.
that just a step further. The reason they got a hold of us is on the West Coast they run what's called junior comps, which is a junior dragster, but they're a little bit longer, and they either have motorcycle or snowmobile engines in them. And Justice has the big trophy that NHRA gives is called a Wally. And Justice has 11 Wallies, and he was so successful that year. that's when they did the article on him.
All right. I got a lot of questions, but I'm going to let David ask the next one.
Wow. I mean, this is just amazing to sit here with you guys. And, I mean, to hear your young career, I mean, just getting started at 18 years old, man, I mean, you got to be thinking, like, this is next level for you, and how far can you go?
Oh, yeah.
Like, right? Like, where's the end of it? So, and to have your granddad here with you, I mean, this is family. This is what the car business is about. This is what automotive is about, is being with family and getting this done. So, I'm just glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, I think that's the side of racing that I want people to see, that it's not just two people getting out there racing. There's actually whole families. It's almost like a community involved in that. They know each other. It's a way for the family to get together and do different things together.
I mean,
Taylor.
we can, if I can interrupt just a second, we sit here and we barbecue at the end of the day, and we socialize and we tell jokes and we have a good time. But when you get on a racetrack, I love him to death, but you're going to lose. And that's the way it is my wife, my daughter, my grandson, we all travel in the motorhome. We do this as a family. We don't go anywhere that is not a family thing. And drag racing is a very fast, very fun sport. But again, like we just talked about, it's really family oriented. If you look at all these motorhomes and people that are here, it's all families.
Yeah, amazing. Taylor.
Okay, so 18 years old, and you're really getting on with a good career.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
if this is how you want to take it. And I, as an instructor, there's a lot of people just like you in my classroom every day, you know, same age and everything else. And what I'm seeing is you know, with the younger generation, they're not that interested in cars anymore. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. I'd say mainly, like, the biggest thing you see nowadays is mainly people want to build, like, trucks and stuff like that.
Right.
You don't see the people want to go buy a junkyard car and see how fast they can make it.
Right. So if I have a student that's wanting to do what you're doing, what is a good piece of advice that you would give them to get started?
If they want to go drag racing, find a local track that's got a test and tune. Just go watch. I mean, that's the way. And ask questions. I mean, anybody in the pits, almost anybody here, you go ask them a question, they're going to be willing to help you and give you information on how to get started if you really want to. And I mean, the easiest way is just come watch it. And most of the time, the bullet's going to bite you, and you'll be begging to do it the next day.
Right. Well, thank you.
There's a question I wanted to ask about, and this is the thrill that I get out of doing this show, because I get to learn so much about different areas. Bracket racing. Tell the listeners how that works.
Okay, bracket racing, everybody thinks that two cars get together, they both leave, and the first one down there wins. Well, it's much, much more intricate than that. On bracket racing, we have what's called a dial-in. So let's take my dragster. Let's say I'm going to dial 452, 4.52 seconds. That means that when my car leaves, it's going to pass the beams at the other end of the track at 4.52 seconds. That's the ultimate. Okay? If I go 4.53, then I'm still in the race. But if I go 4.51.9, I lose because I went too fast. And then on top of that, you have what's called a reaction time, an elapsed time, and a total time. The reaction time is we have 3 yellows and a green and then a red. And there's a half a second between each yellow. So what you want is you want your car to break the beam, that means it leaves, at the exact same time the green light comes on. So if you have a .000, you have a perfect time. So let's just make things simple. Let's say I do .010 and my car runs 4.50. I'm 4.51. So it's a cumulative of all that.
Wow. And the key is to be very consistent.
I have never imagined the complexity these guys keep talking about. So it's fantastic
it's
to be
still
here.
coming. It's crazy, some of the other things. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Randy a few minutes ago, and we were talking about the different methods of reaction time. This was during the break. And he was telling me about the computerized system that he uses. Randy, tell us a little bit about what that does, or what you said, launch your car.
Sure. We have electronics in my car. Now, Justice's car doesn't have it. they have what's called several class. You can hear several terminology. You hear boxcar, you hear super pro. All of that means is that we're allowed to have the electronics. Well, I have a timer system in my car that, like I said earlier, we have 3 bulbs and there's a half second between each bulb. As soon as I see the top bulb go on, I have what's called a trans brake button on my steering wheel, and I let go of that trans brake button. That initiates the countdown in my delay box system that if I've done everything right, the car launches, the car leaves the starting line at that perfect 0, 0, 0 reaction time. Justice's car doesn't have the electronics. He has a trans brake. And what a trans brake does is it makes the transmission internally sort of lock up so that it can't move. And if you've had a clutch car, if you hit the gas and dump the clutch, your car launches hard. Well, that's basically what this trans brake does with an automatic transmission, is it makes it just launch super hard. Justice's car pricks the left front wheel up about 12 inches.
Wow. Man, that's a beautiful car.
Pretty cool.
One thing I'll add on what he was talking about, we were talking about reaction time earlier. And a lot of things people don't realize is I see videos all the time online of people commenting, and, you'll see a car leave on the 3rd yellow, especially on a sportsman tree like what we'll be running today. And you'll see that car start to move before the green ever comes on, but the green will stay on once they're out. So with the way our wheels are and the way the timing system works, there's 2 beams in there. And those 2 beams are pre-stage and stage. And once you're staged, that's what fully locks in the timing system for it to work. And we have something called rollout. So the reason you see these cars leave early, in a sense, is because we launch the cars before the green comes on and use a rollout as our advantage. That's why today you'll see cars just slowly bumping in. You'll see them flicker the stage bulb.
I've noticed that.
And that's so we can get every bit of rollout we need. That way, you can essentially leave early, have a good reaction time, and don't go red. But that confuses a lot of people in the sport. A lot of people can't understand it. They think they need to go on green, which in a sense will lose you a lot of races.
And what Justice just said, go on red. Red means we left too early.
Oh.
Yeah, so like I said, we got 3 yellows, a green, and a red. The red means you boo-booed.
And so that doesn't count.
Just like in real life, yeah.
That's a bad day. You come back and go to the buyback window and buy your way back in.
Now, what part does weather play in it? Hot weather, cold weather, rainy weather?
These are normally aspirated engines, which mean 90% of them are carbureted. Okay, we've got a few fuel-injected cars, but for the most part, temperature, density, altitude, humidity. Humidity is moisture in the air. Moisture in the air displaces oxygen. These cars use oxygen to produce horsepower. So therefore, when we get, like if it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity, the car is going to be substantially slower. If you have low humidity, low temperature, and low density altitude, then the car is going to be faster. So, and I have a weather station in my trailer, and it tells me all of that, and that helps me make predictions as to what my car is going to do that day.
So your experience in aviation has helped a lot.
Just a little.
Yeah.
So that's why y'all like the West Coast. Not much humidity over on the West Coast?
No, there's not.
You're closer to sea level here, though, so your cars are faster.
Yeah, see, we're at 2,000, 2,500 feet most of the time there, so there our density altitude is higher. Higher density altitude, slower the car.
Okay.
Something cool that a lot of people don't understand is these weather stations are pretty cool. I mean, they'll tell you so many things, and when we get a time slip, we can actually enter it into the system, and it'll pull the weather when we ran and what the weather is now and make a prediction on what our car is actually going to run and help us further decide what we want to put on our dial boards to dial for that round.
That's pretty awesome. Now, how much are they using AI in racing? Is that
AI is fairly new. There's a couple of just weather companies out there that make weather stations for trailers and all, and predominantly at the moment it's still good old-fashioned weatherman type information that we get. And AI hasn't progressed in that realm yet, so we're still not.
It's coming.
Yeah. You know, technology is always improving.
Yeah.
like I say, I started out with a old slow Ford Fairlane to what I am today.
I mean, I think you think about. I think majority of people would think you just get in that car and go to the line, right, and then you just run it. But I mean, to hear all the prep work you guys go through before you ever even get out there to run the car, to start preparing, to know that you're going to make the best lap you can. I mean, that's what's fascinating to me.
And one other thing that we hadn't even talked about is simple things like rear tire pressure. Depending on how good the track is prepped, I may need more or less air pressure. So in my car also, I have a digital dash, which is a data logger, and if I get tire spin, I can see that and adjust tire pressure and weights and all of those good. So there's a whole lot more to it than what people think.
It's early in the morning. They'll be starting to run some of them in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So during our next hour, we'll have a lot of cars you'll hear running up and down the track, so it'll probably get a little bit noisy. Right now they're prepping the track. They're running. They put tar on it or something like that a little earlier, and then it was a shovel full of fire. It was actually on fire that they were putting on the ground. And that's so that these things can get traction. And I will say, one thing that we didn't mention before, this race that they're having this weekend, that'll be going on today and tomorrow, this is the big boys. This is some very, very fast cars. For instance, Randy that we talked to a little earlier, Randy Crockett and his grandson Justice Brown, Randy's dragster is 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah. He said 200 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That is pretty huge. Okay, I was going to mention something that most people don't know, but Advanced Auto Parts has performance parts in there. They have a tab on the computer that you can go to and actually pick up things like Holley, Eldebrock, all the K&N, all of the high performance items that you would want is there. So Advanced Auto Parts is a great place to look at if you're interested in good high-performance parts. Taylor's shaking his head because I know that he loves some high-performance parts. There's so many beautiful cars that be here, and they're starting to take them out of the trailers now, so there's going to be a lot more coming out. It's going to be a lot of great things. David, it's time for that moment in the show to where you tell us a little bit about what's going on in your collision safety consultants world.
Well, every week I always bring something different. I had a lady call me this week, and this reminded me of you, Aaron. She was fixing to go out of town, getting her car serviced, took it to a local dealership, and they rotated the tires, changed her oil, did everything. Well, the one thing they didn't do, they didn't tighten up the lug nuts.
Oh.
And so when she goes down the road, two of the wheels come off.
Oh my
and
goodness!
Now her
Two
car's
of them. Wow.
Yeah, now her car's a total loss. So she's having to work through that. So she reached out to me to kind of go through, try and help her through that situation, what they're going to offer her. So I was thinking about you the whole time. I said, man, if they would have just done the cross check,
right?
This would have eliminated
That's the first thing
problem.
I thought about when you said that. Is I remember his cross check would have fixed that, and that's something that we're implementing ourselves.
Yeah, it is, and that happens more times than people know. But the cross-check method, and I'll go ahead and do a shameless plug on the book there. It's the cross-check method is you could go just to Amazon and get the book, Amazon.com by Aaron Clements, the cross-check method, or you can go to the crosscheckmethod.us, crosscheckmethod.us. And it's so easy for things to happen, but the cross-check method does more than just help in car repair. It's for almost anything you do. I do probably 40, 50, or maybe 100 cross-checks a day. Just in my mind, I say cross-check, boom, and it's done. And it just helps me to be able to accomplish a lot, and it helps me to put a period on something when I'm doing even something as simple as getting gas. I mean, you always like to make sure you got the hose unplugged. Nobody wants to talk about that, but it could happen.
Absolutely.
And I promise you, because I've seen it so many times, it's easy to accidentally put gas in a diesel. People do that. But if you're thinking of the cross-check method when you do things like that, it almost eliminates things like that from happening.
So I had that experience this week, and then I do some consulting for shops, and so one of the shops reached out to me. They had done some scans on a car. The customer came back, and I actually reached out to Aaron because I got the service invoice from where the customer had gone to the dealership because this light came on. And the first thing that was on there was all the BG service things on there. And so I called Aaron. I was like, hey, let's talk about this vehicle. And they've got the BG. So that's the fluid exchanges we always talk about every week. And he's like, absolutely. I was like, this is why I come on the radio show. It's helping me get better as I'm, in what I do every day, but learning more about BG products and seeing that this is all over the country. You're seeing it everywhere.
There was a time to where the dealers really wasn't that much concerned about preventative maintenance because their goal was to sell you a car. Now a lot of the dealerships, and this is good, this is not saying this is in a bad way, this is actually in a good way, a lot of the dealers are also focusing on doing things to prevent problems on coming up so you'll be happy with your existing car because they found that if the car that you had before that, if the transmission didn't blow up at 80,000 miles and if you didn't have rear end problems and engine problems, you're more apt to buy that same car or at least the same brand. So I think preventative maintenance is more important than ever, and I think now even the car dealerships are seeing that.
Well, even me, looking at this car, it was a 19 Arcadia, and it had 44,000 miles on it, and I'm sitting there looking, and they're saying to do a fluid exchange on the transfer case, and so that's why I called Aaron. I was like, hey, man, is that about right? And, confirmed it. That's exactly what need to be done. So
there's special fluid, and that comes about from a lot of the synthetic fluids, which I will say that the synthetic fluids there's going to be some price increases on them because that's some of the areas that were damaged during the conflict that they having with Iran, and it produces Group 3 oils, and those Group 3 base oils, they're going to be a little bit more difficult to find. I don't think there will really be that much of a shortage, but without question, they're going to be a little bit more expensive.
Right, yeah. I just did an article like that on that topic for the Augusta Press on as far as the Group 3 stuff. But, and I'm not saying to go out and just stock up and fill your garage up with 55-gallon drums of oil or anything like that, but definitely if you see something on sale, you may want to grab a little bit more than you normally do. So
don't go run out and buy all the toilet paper.
Right, yeah. It was just like a COVID thing, and I think it'll be, it'll come back online. We have some refineries in Cotter and stuff like that that are starting to come back in line and produce some of that. And it's from what I've seen, it's the really low, like the really thin oils, the 0W everything is starting to get a little bit harder to find. But
as a matter of fact, most later model vehicles require some form of synthetic fluid in the oil, and more so in transmissions, more so in definitely in transfer cases because of the way they're built. So I agree with you, Taylor, there. I don't think it's going to be impossible to find, but you might have to get a different brand than you used to get and possibly pay a little bit more. But I agree also that the price will gradually be coming down when those come online.
Right.
Are we ready to set up for the next thing that we'll talk about?
Well, I was going to ask, Aaron, do we have a tech tip quiz out there?
You want us to lay one out?
Let's lay one out.
I got
there.
one.
It's early.
Here's the tricky part. We did one last week, and we did not get an answer. So we'll lay that out there, and then we'll start covering our next subject when we get back, because it's a really tricky subject that we'll talk about. Okay. Here's the tech tip quiz. Bill was near the beach driving in his 2024 Jaguar F-Type. It's a $125,000 car. Ross pulled up and goosed it a few times and then poured acid on Bill's Jaguar, punched it, and flew off. Bill could not catch Ross. Why would Ross do this? So if somebody knows the answer, give us a call. And that's 800-224-9090. 800-224-9090 if you can answer the tech tip quiz, or if you got a car question, you can give us a call.
We got cars running in the next segment when we come back.
Yes, it will be a little bit noisy during the next segment, but we'll be able to overcome it because we have the headsets on, and so that'll work out well. We did lay the tech tip quiz on the table. Just a real quickly, Bill was near the beach driving his 2024 Jaguar F-Type. It's a $125,000 car. Ross pulled up, goosed it a few times, and then poured acid on Bill's Jaguar, punched it, and flew off, and Bill couldn't catch him. So if you know the answer, 800-224-9090. And we mentioned that we would discuss the next subject.
Let's hear it.
Here's what it's about. By using AI and tag readers, flock drones and cameras help track down stolen vehicles, criminal suspects, assist with Amber Alerts, and even supports first responders. There are now 75 to 95,000 of these things in the U.S. Is that good, or are we giving up too much of our privacy? Taylor, we'll go to you first.
Oh, let's see. That's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think once you leave your property, you really don't have any expectation of privacy. And, as much as you would want it. But when does that cross over into being a surveillance state? I think we're getting close. There seems to be, at every stoplight there's a camera, every business has a camera, and they're all pointed towards the public. But that's something that unless you move out into the middle of the woods, like I'm planning to do, there's not really any way around it. And that's just that's been going on for quite a while now. As far as using taxpayer money for that and things like that, I'm not a big fan of that. But I do understand that it does have a good result with certain things like searches and for people and accidents and things like that. But it does breed interaction with the government that I don't necessarily want to have on a daily basis.
David?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is here. I mean, I don't think we've got a whole lot that we're going to be able to push back on. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to keep we're going to be monitored more than ever. What was it? When Alexa came out several years ago, like, it was amazing to everybody that it would just automatically pick up what you were talking about, right? Like, it was always listening to you. So now, not everything is always listening to, but it's always watching you.
Right, but if you have a cell phone in your pocket, it does the same thing too.
Yeah,
so,
exactly,
yeah.
and it's tracking you and knows where you're at. So I think with cameras, I mean, I see more of it in my business every day when people are having accidents and total losses like that. I mean, I hear more people talk about how their camera is helping them to provide that information to the police officer when he shows up on the scene so that they can hook it in their laptop. They actually watch the accident happen from that point of view, and they're able to make a clear determination of who's at fault. So I don't know. We're in a world that everything is monitored anymore. So,
well, I'll mention on my end where I'm at on the flock cameras. I'm okay with it helping to catch criminal activity, locate a stolen car, locate or find a missing person, because you can take a drone and fly over and look for heat a lot faster than you can run four-wheelers and all that through the woods looking for somebody.
Right.
So it saves a lot of money. But what I'm against is using it to make money. In other words,
Right.
I don't want to, every time I go 5 miles over the speed limit, to get a letter in the mail saying this flock camera saw me going 65 and a 55 or something like that, or my tags expired. Like, I did receive one of those. Those are being used to make money because they know they can put them out there and they can catch people. So I'm for the criminal activity. I'm for them being used anything as a profit center for a community.
Right, like a red light camera or something like
that's
that.
that's my thoughts on the whole deal.
well, you don't like speed limits anyways, Aaron.
I can't stand. I think speed limits, and I'll say it again. I think the speed limit should be 90 on most major interstates. That's my thought.
One of the things I'm seeing with AI nowadays in our field is with diagnostics, with automotive diagnostics, with estimating as well. We're starting to see some scan tools come with AI, especially some of the Chinese-made scan tools out there that I've been looking at, and the AI is going to help technicians. But I'm just using it as like, hey, I have this code, this car is doing this and that. I haven't had very good results out of it.
It guesses. If it doesn't know, it guesses. But there's some others coming, they're BART or something like that is more accurate in some of those cases. A lot of new things progressing, but the crazy part is it's learning more and more as it goes.
Yeah.
Ready to go to the calls?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go over to, who is this? Tony, I believe. Let's go to Tony. And Tony, welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Hey, good morning, Aaron and David and Taylor and everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Y'all are talking about drag racing and this morning, and it brought back some memories for me about my drag racing experiences, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and also wanted to talk about the Tech Tip quiz.
Well, fantastic. We're ready.
What you want me to do first?
The drag racing part, of course.
Okay, good deal. All right, so I'm 70 years old. So this was probably back in the 1970s or so. I used to go with friends to the drag strip. I think it was in Jackson, South Carolina.
That's where we're at, yeah.
Yep.
And where is the Carolina Dragway? Where are you all there?
It's on Dragway Road. If I don't,
Dragstrip Road, yeah, I think.
Yeah, we're in Jackson, South Carolina.
Dragway Road, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm 70 years old, so this has been many moons ago, but we used to go to the drag strip there. I lived in the CSRA area, and we used to go to the drag strip over there, and of course they would have the professional cars that would be there drag racing, but they would also allow people to race their street cars there.
Yep.
They could just come up there and sign up, and you could race your street car and stuff like that, and we used to just have a lot of fun. And I mean, I wasn't a part of drag race or anything like that, but we would just go over there and hang out and sit on the hoods of our cars and socialize and have a good time. And we had some friends that were into drag racing and stuff, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they would have people that they would allow them to race their motorcycles and stuff like that back then. I don't know whether they still do that or not.
They do, and they do allow people. There's certain nights where people can bring their own vehicle. Now, of course, today they have the big boys. They got these, beautiful, very fast cars today. But there are times where they have it where people can just bring their street car out and run and see what it can do, and they can do it in a legal way. They can go as fast as they want legally.
Right.
Okay. Well, y'all show reminded me of just, some good times I had coming to the drag strip over there in Jackson with some friends, stuff like that, and just brought back some sweet memories. And like I said, I never did have a car that I would take to the drag strip and race, but I had a '63 Chevrolet Impala, and I wish I still had that car today.
Yeah.
But
those are a lot of fun. That is awesome for you to share that information with us like that. That is good. You ready to answer our tip? Because we're going to be going to a break, and I want you to be able to answer it real quick. Because I could picture you in a Tech Tip quiz shirt. Okay, I'm going to mention it real quick. Bill,
I need one.
Bill was near the beach driving 2024 Jaguar F-Type. Ross pulled up, goosed it a few times, and poured acid on Bill's Jaguar, punched it and flew off, and Bill couldn't catch him. What is the answer to today's Tech Tip quiz?
Thinking Ross must have been some kind of beach bird or goose or whatever that dropped some excrement on that nice paint job on that Jaguar, and the acid in that excrement or something must have damaged the paint job on the car.
All right, here we go. I got 20 seconds to say this. Ross is the name of a goose. It's called Ross's Goose. It's a white goose with black wingtips and a short neck. The goose crapped on his Jaguar. The bird crap has acid, and it gets on your car, and you need to get it off soon if it is, or to eat through the paint. And you are absolutely right. What is that, a Charger over there lined up on the go line?
Oh, yeah.
It is about to get a little bit noisy in a few minutes, so we'll cover a couple of quick items. One thing, I thought this was kind of interesting. At least 16 suspects between the ages of 18 and 36 are charged with 971 criminal counts by DeBronx District Attorney's Office for stealing, then selling auto parts. Now get this, they had a pit crew.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I thought this story tied in with racing. they would have all these people, and they would jump out, and they would jump on one car, and within a minute or two completely strip it. And get this now, they were selling parts, auto parts, worth more than $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that they had made during this crime spree between in a certain amount of time in 2025.
Well, see, those criminals are hurting the service business and the collision business because people think that you should be able to just jump on a car and in a minute have it done.
Right, right. Well, and if you look at now, like I'm looking, there's a F-250 over there, that black F-250, and if you look at the taillight, there's a camera in that taillight. So those taillights now, they used to be $35, $50. Now that's a $1,200 taillight.
Oh,
so
yeah.
and it doesn't take long to remove it. So you've got these people that are hitting these cars up in these dark parking lots and things like that, and they're taking these high dollar components. Porsche headlights are a big thing right now, where people are literally taking metal shears and cutting them out of the front of these cars. You know, thousands upon thousands of dollars damage for these headlights, and then you'll see them on eBay and everything else. So
just about totaled the car to get the headlight off.
Right. We've always catalytic converter theft can total cars now. You know, the average Prius has a $2,500 catalytic converter on it. So if you have a high mileage Prius out there and you get your catalytic converter stolen, it's probably totaled. You know, because they have to replace the whole exhaust system because they used the Sawzall to get up. You know, so yeah, we're starting to see a lot more of these high dollar parts being stolen, and I'm sure body shops are seeing that stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that it mentioned that they get as they're taking everything. Wheels, tires, catalytic converters is always a big thing that they take off of there. So they can actually just strip them that quick.
Right.
That's some amazing stuff. Also want to update everybody on the flying cars.
Flying cars are okay.
You know I love to keep track of that. Yeah.
Oh.
Chinese automaker Xpeng says it has already received more than 7,000 orders for its two-seat flying machine and expects large-scale production to begin in 2027.
So, Aaron, do you have yours ordered?
I'm waiting to see how it shakes out. The prices keep coming down. I really think that as they become more advanced, mass-produced, the prices will start coming down a lot. Yeah, on those and Optimus, because, of course, I want an Optimus, too.
No Jetson now.
Yeah.
Jetson's out.
Well, the Jetson 1, it don't care about the 210 pounds, and we talked about that.
Yeah. We've moved on from the Jetson. Now we're on to the, you said Optimus?
Well, the Optimus is the humanoid robot.
Okay. Yeah,
so
I know you want one of those.
I have some concerns about the flying car because I see how people drive on the road around here, and I could not imagine them in the air.
Well, they have plenty of room in the air.
Right, but I'm sure they'll mess it up somehow.
Yeah.
And that's, and
now this is kind of a bad picture to even think about, but my bad problem is, of course, with a car, you can accidentally bump into somebody just a little bit and they are okay. What happens when one of these runs into people? I mean, most of them don't have any guards around these blades. And you got these 8 blades sitting there, motors spinning very fast, and I just hoping people stand a long distance away, and one of those things don't accidentally jump forward or something.
Sounds like they're going to have to put some of those guards around them, kind of like a drone.
Some do, but those I'm not sure why all of them don't. It's something to do with airflow. I think that if you do that, you would have to have tilt, a lot more expensive to build if you start doing that. But that's the update on that, and it's time for one other update, and this is a good update. Yeah. The letter of understanding has been signed. The Strait of Hormuz is open, and gas prices are coming down.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all we needed.
All just in time for the 4th of July.
There you go.
Yeah. Politics aside from everything, everybody's got to be happy about that.
Right. And I've seen fuel prices now I drive a Ford Maverick hybrid now, 42 miles a gallon, great truck. But even, I remember when I first got it, it was like, $28 to fill it up, and now it's $42, $43 to fill it up just from when I bought it back in 2025. And so, I can imagine these big SUVs and trucks, what they're paying. I can only imagine. But yeah, and of course everything in this country runs off of diesel or gasoline, so everything becomes cheaper when fuel does.
So, and that's a good point. That the fuel prices coming down will lower the grocery store prices. It just so many other things drop down.
Right.
Now, you mentioned something really interesting. You say you drive a Ford Maverick. You've been happy with that vehicle?
I love that truck. I have never I never thought I would.
Uh-huh.
I bought it out of necessity because I knew I was getting I just bought a large piece of property and I needed a truck. But I still wanted, I drive an hour to work every day. So I still wanted something with a decent enough fuel economy to make it, worth the purchase. And this was, I'm very, very impressed with the Maverick. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No problem so far. I've already got 37,000 miles on it. Mm-hmm. So, and I've got a lot of that content on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in the Maverick, go to Auto Scholar and Mr. B. I got a lot of stuff on it.
Say that one more time. You said it kind of fast.
Auto Scholar with Mr. B on YouTube.
Okay.
We're already
Fantastic.
starting up. Here we go.
Yeah. And you'll tell us all about the Maverick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Okay. They're starting to line them up. Now, we talked a little bit about some of the things that they did as far as the prepping the track during the last hour. They put the tar on there to get the traction, and we discussed a little bit about what bracket racing was. And in short, bracket racing, the fastest car don't necessarily win. They have to.
Here they go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're starting to line up a bunch of cars out here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you get going up. Okay. That was Randy Crockett just walked up,
Yeah,
and
he
he
said-
said his grandson is coming up there very shortly. So we'll be able to watch his grandson run. The two that we got now looks like, what is that, a Firebird?
Yeah, it looks like a Firebird and looks like a Camaro in the far lane.
Firebird and a Camaro. Well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the Camaro does have that. They're having some type of trouble with one of the lights at the other end. I think they're working on it, trying to get it squared away and working again. I might see it to where they did get it working to where it'll be going. But it looks like a lot of the vehicles are already staged up going down the back. And one of the people that we talked to a little earlier, that's Justice Brown. He's in the line to be able to come up here, so we'll be watching him run in just a little bit. If someone wants to see what their car will do, this is a great way to be able to go as fast as your car can go and do it legally.
Right.
There are certain nights of the week you can bring a street car out here and just run them down the track and see what they'll do. So that's the best way to do it if you plan to drive as fast as I do.
So they don't need to block up the intersections like we talked about
Right.
last week and take over the roadways to do this stuff.
Exactly.
Come out here and do
Yes,
it.
I think the only really requirement that you need here is a helmet. You need some type of helmet, and you need a seatbelt. And
Yes,
I think
good
you
point.
there's no teching. You can bring anything out here. I remember being a kid, being out here with my Impala and tearing it up every once in a while. But I'm sure we all have a Jackson story in us for sure.
Yeah. I did, and at the time I thought I was going really fast. I mean, I was a teenager, and I had this car. It was jacked up in the back, had the chrome wheels, and it was loud. And I'd go down there, and I thought I was flying, and in reality, I wasn't really.
It was just a lot of loud.
Yeah, it was a lot of loud, a lot of noise, and nothing going on. Okay, do want to lay another tech tip quiz out on the table.
Let's do it.
And just real quick, when I had my car completely repainted, when I went to pick it up, they handed me a little jar of leftover paint. I said, why in the world would you give somebody leftover paint? Now, if you know the answer of why they would give somebody leftover paint, you give us a call, 800-224-9090. You could be a Tech Tip Quiz winner. And next subject, car theft. It used to be we'd use a screwdriver. Or,
Right.
Not me. I never
I was
did
about
it.
to say, there's a
But
dark
it
side
used
to
to
you,
be
Aaron.
that people that would steal cars would use a screwdriver, and they would either pop the cylinder out or pop the side off the. Whoa, that's a close race. Wow.
Wow.
But now they're doing it electronically
Right.
on there. Now, law enforcement says that some of the rings are targeting some of the newer Hondas, Acuras, and vehicles using this technique. What do you think, Taylor? Is this good?
Yeah, I mean, this is electronic warfare, and what a lot of the thieves are doing, they're going to houses and they're using these radio receivers and they're trying to pick up what your key in your house is actually doing with the car. They actually make bags now. They're like Faraday cage bags that you can put your keys in when you get home to where that stops that. If you're in a high-risk area for that, I do recommend that. They're pretty cheap, $15, $20 on Amazon. But they'll come out, they'll grab the signal, they'll reproduce the signal, unlock your car, crank your car, and you'll get up in the morning with an empty driveway. Mm-hmm. There's other ways that they can do it as well, but this has become the most common one that we've seen. And if you hang your keys up by your door, by your front door, it makes it easier for them because it's just that easier to get that signal.
Well, I think that just goes into the complexity of the sophistication of the car and the gateways they have into the car now, right, with the certain scan tools that are only able to get in there, right? Like, I mean, not every aftermarket scan tool will scan a car anymore, right? And it's because of all these. Cars can get hijacked. If all this aftermarket software was out there, anybody could go grab into it. The car's just so sensitive. So now you've got, more OE tools that you're going towards to get into these gateways, or you got to have subscriptions. You talked about that a couple weeks ago. So the car today is not what it used to be.
No.
So
I think it's a matter of time before you'll have either fingerprint or facial recognition on pretty much most of the vehicles that you get in, just like your cell phone. And, of course, no doubt it's getting there quick to where you just use facial recognition or your cell phone to pay for 90% of the things that you're doing.
Right. So, yeah, I recommend if you have fears of this happening, one, the Faraday bag that you put your key in. Two, if you have some type of subscription service on your car to where you can locate your car, a cheaper way to do that is throwing an Apple AirTag in your car. Yeah. $20 on Amazon gets you an Apple AirTag. You can start your Apple account, and it will tell you. Now, it has to be close to something that has Wi-Fi for it to register where it's at, but Wi-Fi is everywhere, so it's really not too much of a problem anymore. Just throw one in the car. Now, there is a chance for a thief to find it and get rid of it and everything else, but it is if you have somebody that's inexperienced with stealing cars, it is a good way to at least find out where your car ends up.
We got a story about that coming up.
Okay.
We did that during the next segment, but there's a story about a stolen car like that. So that's a good point, using an AirTag to if you have something valuable, whether it's a boat, a car, a race car, a motorcycle, or something you want to protect, it is a really good idea to have an AirTag in there.
I've got one actually on my wallet right here.
Okay.
So, and I've had to, where the heck is my wallet? And I've actually had to use that to find my wallet. So the AirTags are very cheap. They can be defeated, but they're for the average person. Somebody just walks by and picks up my wallet, and I can find them fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And keep. There's a lot of cars been located like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So keeping an AirTag in there is a very important part of the deal. And let's mention that. We got a second. This was in Fairfax, Ohio. A really smart dude stole an SUV. Then he hit 2 police cars to evade arrest, and then he sped off. He thought he was home free until he ran out of gas within 2 blocks after doing all this. Well, he didn't know it. The suspect, Stephen Williams, 58 years old enough to know better, he didn't know he was being tracked with an AirTag.
Right.
Yeah, they had an AirTag on the car, and that's how they kept after him, is because he had it. And a lot of times a police officer, they're a lot safer to locate a car like that too, because they don't have to be in high-speed pursuit on the vehicle the whole time. They can just wait until it's stopped and wait until it's in a safe area. Boom, swoop in and grab it.
Yeah, and somebody doesn't wreck your car trying to steal it too. So running from the cops. So, yeah, I think AirTag should be on anything valuable.
Yeah.
We had started talking about scanning in the last segment, kind of led into more conversation, and I thought it was fascinating. Taylor, I didn't know he was an influencer, so he gets to test a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And people send him different scan tools. But if you want to kind of elaborate, because with drag racing, they're tuning these cars with scanners. But an everyday person that gets a car, I mean, your aftermarket scan tool doesn't always do everything that needs to, and you do have to get some OE tools.
Right. So there's different levels. You have your standard scan tools. You have your bidirectional, which means you can command the car to do things with the scan tool, and it talks back and forth. But most people are not going to need a professional level scan tool if they're just interested in what their car is doing. You can get some cell phone apps now that have a Bluetooth adapter that plug directly into your OBD2 port, and you can scan your car and just kind of see what's going on. Now, if you're trying to fix something complicated, or trying to program something or something like that, you will need what I call a 4-figure scan tool, and it's going to be $1,500, $2,000 or something like that for a entry-level professional grade scan tool. But that price has come down a lot. Because it used to be $5,000.
Yes.
So we're starting to see these Chinese companies that are making these scan tools, and the intellectual property laws are a little bit different over there. So they just kind of hack into a company that has this stuff already and replicate it and then put it in a scan tool. So I get offered those a lot, and some of those I do test. And I've got one actually on the way now that I'm testing from TopTon, and when I'm done with testing, they let you keep the scan tool, so I'm just going to give it to one of our high school automotive programs that doesn't really have the funding that I do. So,
well, I thought the transmission was interesting when you were talking about that and how it's VIN specific.
Right. So there's parts, radios, transmissions, of course, any type of control module that has the VIN number for the car that it originally belonged to imprinted in it, and I understand something like that, like with a immobilizer system or like an odometer. I would want the odometer to be stuck in an instrument cluster. But as far as the VIN number stuff, and a lot of it has to do with because certain cars with different options will have the same control module, and they'll be coded for different things. Like if you have a 2-door and a 4-door car, they'll have the same control modules, but you'll have 4 window motors in one car, so it'll be coded for a 4-door. So all that coding, it normally takes a pretty good scan tool to do that, and some of these modules are not salvageable. So if I have a module in one car, I cannot take it out and put it in another car if it's used because it's already imprinted with that VIN number and the coding information. So that's becoming a problem on the salvage side, and so where you would have to, and with the collision.
Oh, it's all over collision, especially in the ADAS stuff.
ADAS, yes.
They're, the insurance carriers are pushing shops to use more used or salvage, front radars, blind spot sensors, and some of these things are, and they don't understand from the insurance side that they are coded to that VIN number of that vehicle, and so you can't use it on another car, or you gotta try and, like I say, jailbreak it.
There's a huge problem with like aftermarket windshields right now being just a different color, different tint of glass, different geometry or something like that. And of course, the front-facing cameras for ADAS systems normally point through the windshield.
Yep.
And so just that little variation, the car will not calibrate because of that aftermarket windshield. Then you got to start all over.
Rick, go to the calls?
We got calls coming in.
All right, here we go. Let's go to the next caller. That will be welcome to the C&C Auto Show. What can we help with?
Alrighty. I got a buddy. I went over to his house last night. He has a 1993 Dodge Dakota with a 318. He said it just stopped the day before, and it cranked right back up. He drove it home. He has no power at the coil pack or the ignition coil. And any ideas what we can look for?
We used to run into power relays on that, and I think that power relay was separate from the computer, wasn't it?
I believe so. It's been a while since I've worked on a 93 anything, but
I'd have to look at the wiring diagram to be sure, but if I'm not mistaken, there was a relay called the power relay. Now, you got to remember when you're checking for power that's going to the computer, it can be misleading sometime because the computer, if the vehicle don't stay running or it don't crank up and run, then it cuts the power back off. So you may go to it and think you're not getting power, but we're getting power at the time if it would have stayed running. So that makes it a little bit different to diagnose. But on that one, if you say when you turn the key, it will spin over now, but it won't start. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that one old enough to have the ignition module on it that sat on the firewall that we used to go about all the time?
Yeah, I believe it does have that ignition module. Yes,
so
and
that
that's
could be
a
an issue there.
possibility.
Yeah.
So I would say power relay, which is what sends the power to
the
that
ignition
module,
module, yeah.
or the module itself. But if you're not getting any power to the coil, be sure that you're not getting it the time you cut the key on. Have somebody else cut the key on while you're checking power, because that can definitely be misleading a lot of times, because the power will cut off after a certain amount of time if it don't sense that the car is running. It does that to protect the coil, to keep it from overheating or anything. But if you're not getting power to the coil, the next step, if you wanted to play around with something and that relay was one you just pop out and pop in, it'd be worth a shot, I mean, for the heck of it, because it's a possibility. But if it's more than that, I wouldn't guess. I'd go ahead and have somebody diagnose the vehicle. Well, you can, but you're going to need a wiring diagram and a multimeter and power probe and different pieces of equipment to be able to trace it down and find out where the problem is.
Start with that relay and.
Yeah, if you would guess it,
about
that's
a
something.
quick
Relays are cheap. There's something you can stick in there, and if
Also,
it works, good. If it don't, now I wouldn't put the computer, the little module in. Those are a little bit more money. And what I don't want you to get caught up. We have a lot of customers that come in, and I say, well, to find this problem, we're going to need to run some diagnostic tests. Going to run about $175. And they say, I don't want to do that. I already put $600 worth of parts on here.
Should have done that first. One thing also with when you're testing relays, the ignition relay may be the same as the horn relay. Maybe the same exact part. And so you can actually, if your horn's working, you can swap the relays, then try to crank the car. And if it works, then you know that you've kind of –
Good point.
I mean, that's kind of the poor man's diagnostic tool that I've used. But some, wiper relay, some other relay may actually be the same relay as the ignition, and you just swap the two. Just make sure the relays have the same pins and part number.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Well,
Absolutely.
good luck. I hope that works, and you get that bad boy cranked up for him.
Yeah, I hope so. Hey, y'all have a happy Father's Day.
Hey,
right,
thank you, and
thanks.
you do the same. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
All right, the number to call, 800-224-9090. If you got a question about your car, your truck, your SUV, all you have to do is give us a call. We'll mention recalls real quick. We have.
Taylor takes a deep breath.
Taylor, you mentioned the Maverick that you have. It's had a lot of recalls.
Man, I tell you, it's like every other day they come out. Well, and I get alerts for recalls from all manufacturers, and it's like every day it's like 1.2 million cars here, 500,000 there, and and so with recalls, I have two opinions on it. First of all, it's like we've been making cars for over 100 years. Why are we not making them correctly? And the other thing is like, yeah, but they're so complicated, and there's so many things that can go wrong that aren't tested long range. And sometimes the engineers just get usability wrong, and they have to go back and a lot of it's software based. Like I had a recall on my truck. It was software based, and it updated in my driveway at 2:00 in the morning. So some of them you don't even have to go to the dealership anymore. But if you have a mechanical part that needs to be replaced or something like that, or checked, yeah.
And I think you're going to see more of that with recalls as you get more software in the vehicle. That there are going to be constant updates, right? Like that's going to grow as the complexity of the car grows. I think the one thing that was kind of disappointing the other day was when we saw the ball joints were the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled my truck in because I do not have. I was about to go to North Georgia mountains, and I was like, I do not have time to go and do this. So I just pulled it in, ripped my tires off, and checked the ball joints. Everything seems fine. So I've got $35,000 miles on my truck. So I figured if there was a problem, I would have found it by now. But
And that one had to do with the Maverick and the Bronco too.
Maverick, Bronco 2, basically the same, very, very similar truck made on the same line. And I think somebody was just like messing up on a Friday. So that's what happened there.
Aaron's been going over recalls here. We just finished off in the last segment, and you were going to go over some additional ways people could go check that out.
Yeah, just mention one recall that we know about. This is one recall of many. It has to do with Chrysler. There's about 17,000 Pacifica plug-in hybrid minivans. Model years 2020 to 2022 for a battery fire risk. Owners are told not to recharge and to park away from the buildings until it's repaired. And this one of the ways that you can find out if your vehicle has a recall, you can just go to NHTSA.gov.
National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Yeah, / recalls. You can do it that way. But if you Google just about any car, if you Google Toyota recalls, it's going to pop up. So you can find out if your car has a recall pretty easy. But it is a lot easier if you go ahead and have that VIN number there with you.
Right.
As a matter of fact, one thing that's a good idea for everybody to do, just go in their computer and have a little page to where you got all your cars listed and their VIN numbers listed. That way, if you ever need to look up parts or do certain things for your vehicle, you can just copy and paste your VIN number right over into whatever you're looking at, and it'll save a little bit of time. Always a good thing. Ready to go to the calls?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. We do welcome you to the C&C Auto Show. What can we help with?
Well, good morning. It's Jim here, and I've got something that is the opposite of what you just talked about regarding batteries. And if this opposite condition you've spoken about earlier in the show, please accept my apologies for repeating it. But in the last week, I hopped in what is typically my reliable car in the garage, safe space and all, wouldn't crank the car. So I said, okay, I guess I must be having another battery birthday coming up. So it was time for batteries. So as we all have said over the years, they fail in the heat as fast as they do in the cold. And a little trick I have for monitoring that is when I buy a battery, I make a copy of the receipt. I put it in a Ziploc bag, and then I tape the bag with clear packing tape on a side of the battery. I can glance at it easily with the date of purchase exposed because, one, if it's still under warranty, guess where the receipt is? It's right there.
Yes.
And when the battery fails sometimes, you don't have time to go back to the house and get another receipt from the house somewhere or dig it up. So anyway, I had the receipt. It still had some prorated time on it. I got that. Was able to put the battery in myself, which is always nice. But still, put that receipt on the side of the battery. And folks, if you're going to take a long trip, get it load tested before you go, because who wants to be rooting around the parts store for a new battery when you're supposed to be having fun?
Yeah, and Jim, that gives me an opportunity to mention one thing. I've been converting almost everything. I have my side-by-side, the dirt bike, my cars, my trucks, over to AGM batteries by Clarios. Right. Those batteries, they last much longer. They come in really good if you've got something like a car or boat that just sits like a classic car that just sits for a period of time and not being driven very much. They're awesome. Jim, I wish you could have seen that. I mean, 2 Mustangs. What was that? 2 Mustangs, right?
Yeah.
2 Mustangs went down the drag strip. Beautiful sight. They are lined up and coming on in. But, yes, I would say that that is changing over to AGM is a good move.
I think Jim's tip right there was fantastic.
It was a great tip.
Take that receipt with the clear bag and take. I've never thought about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that was awesome.
Yeah, excellent tip, and we always appreciate that.
Well, it's what you call trial and error. It wasn't a divine inspiration.
You live and learn.
I've had it happen to me, and I said, man, where's my receipt?
And it works.
It worked this week perfectly.
Oh, we got the cars pulling off the line now.
That was a Chevy Vega wagon. What? That's got to be the last one left, isn't it? That's crazy.
A Chevy Vega wagon.
I'm a sucker for a wagon, so yeah.
But, Jim, keep those tips coming because we love them. That's very, very helpful.
Yep. Well, I've received many more than I will ever be able to provide through this show. So thank you all very much.
They're very helpful, and thank you.
Thank you. Good day.
All right, there we go.
Always good to hear. Wow. Whatever they did, they pulled the trigger on bringing the cars up. Because
they got it moving right now.
We got a bunch of them coming in now. We got a little S10 truck and a Camaro sitting there. And again, the way bracket racing is designed, the fastest car don't always win. It's kind of like golf. You know, you got handicap golf, and this is sort of the same
It's
way.
kind of handicap.
It seems like you're kind of competing against yourself more than anything.
Yeah. The key is to be very consistent
yeah.
at what you do.
And the accuracy of it
Right.
is what was so interesting to me to hear him talk about that.
But, you know, when you think about it, the part using the computer to launch the vehicle, that's almost like that's taking your reaction time out. You have to make sure you push the button at the right time.
Yeah. So it was interesting, you know, talking with Taylor earlier. We were talking about how loud these cars are. In the generation today, it's not really about how loud your car is,
Right.
to how fast it is, right?
Right.
Because of the EVs,
Uh-huh.
because those cars are so fast, so quick,
Yeah.
and they don't make any noise.
Nope. And I think if we have more charging infrastructure near drag strips, you would see more EV, because it's hard. You know, you do 2 or 3 runs, and your battery's done.
Well,
So is that something you think that'll eventually come, that you'll have EV stations at the drag strip?
You're starting to see high voltage creep into all motorsports. You know, it's already in, you know, some of the formula, it's already in the prototype stuff. So there are EV dragsters already out there. I think they're having a hard time trying to figure out how to class them.
Yeah.
But as far as like consistency and stuff like that, the temperature doesn't matter. Track condition really doesn't matter. They don't spin tires. They're heavy enough to where they count traction. But they don't make noise, and everybody likes the noise. So I think that's why they're not more popular as well. So,
Just really quiet drag
it's
strip
like
as they're
watching a vacuum cleaner go down the road. You know.
Well, you know, when they took away the tax incentive on the EVs, of course, the sales went way down.
Right.
But they're starting to gradually rise again, partly because the gas prices were
Right.
up so high. But at the same time, one thing I'm thankful for is that when they come back, it'll be on their own. It'll be because
Right.
people had a desire to buy them, not because of tax reasons.
Right.
But because they actually want them. And they will. It'll gradually increase over the
Right.
years.
Yeah, and I was looking at maybe getting a Tesla before I bought my truck. But living where I do, there's not any charging infrastructure. I live in a townhome, so very tough to put a charger in there, and that's why I decided to go with the hybrid, and I've been very happy with it. So
Yeah.
EVs aren't for everyone, and they used to be for me. I had a Tesla Model Y, and, now I have a truck because
Yeah.
I needed a truck, and I didn't want a Cybertruck. So
And hybrids are good, but I do recommend people doing the math on it also. And, of course,
Right.
what makes the difference is how much you drive. If
Yeah.
you drive a lot and gas is high, then you get more benefit of a hybrid than you
Right.
would if the gas is low and you don't drive very much.
Right, and I did 30,000 miles the first year of ownership, which is
Yeah.
a lot. That's way high.
Wow.
And I use it. It's still a truck. I use it to haul stuff and work on the land. It's going up. I put bigger tires on it and everything else. It's actually a truck.
It's unbelievable, Aaron. I can't believe we're out of
It's
time.
crazy.
Right.
Crazy. We are out of time. We need to close out this week's C&C Auto Show at Carolina Dragway in Aiken. You can hear the cars behind us going down the track. A big thank you to our friends here at the Hookah House for having us. David Clark,
Yes, sir.
Taylor Bryant, and our producers, Mason Rogers and Donald Lopez and Trip Clark. We appreciate all that you do. And we want to say thank you to all our listeners and callers and watchers and everything else. And we'll see you next week with a shiny new, very fast C&C Auto Show.